Welcome back. This is the MJ Show. I have Shankar Tucker here with me, and we left off in the last segment with him telling me that he wanted to go beyond playing Western classical music, which is read off sheet. It's called sheet music, and you read that as a musician, and then you play that instrument. And he wanted to do a bit more than that. And
yeah. So when I was studying, as a clarinet player, that's basically what you do.
Yeah.
That's what I went to school for, and there's not a whole lot of options in terms of genre for the instrument. But I was really into studying jazz, and I loved Wayne Shorter and Coltrane and Miles and all the kind of post-bop jazz scenes. And for a long time, that's really what I thought I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And but I would struggle when I would play with ensembles because of the volume of the instrument, and clarinet's quite quiet compared to saxophone and trumpet or whatever.
Correct.
So it'd always get drowned out. So I kind of was also looking for a way to improvise, but in a different setting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I found Indian music, the Remember Shakti CDs. I heard those and I was like, okay, this is a place where I could fit in with my instrument, and then I don't know, I got really into it, and it just opened up a whole other world and way of thinking about music. And
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Which part of the world were you studying in?
I was in the States. I was studying in Boston.
Okay. Yeah. So, and what were you listening to? You said Remember Shakti. You heard a little bit of that. Did you know that I want to go down to India now and study? I want to continue my education?
Kind of. It was like it was in the back of my head for like a long time. I would everything was oriented to Western classical music, so we'd have like orchestra rehearsal for 3 hours every morning.
Yeah.
But then after that, I would go back to my room and listen to, Remember Shakti and try to play along with it. And then I gradually got in. I found a teacher who played sitar, and he kind of taught me some basics of Indian classical music. And then by the end of my time there, I was like, I want to go to India.
Yeah.
And so I applied for a scholarship to study abroad for a year. So that's how I then, after I graduated, I came to Bombay.
And you got the scholarship?
I did get the scholarship, yeah.
And when you came down to India, everybody, all your fans know it, but for those of our viewers who don't know, when you came down to India, whom did you get to work with?
Yeah, it was to study with Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia.
There you go. I knew that, and so waiting for him to say that. If you didn't know, how long did you spend with Pandit ji?
I was there for about a year.
For a year?
At his school, yeah.
And again, another question which you must have answered 100 times. How was it to work with, to study under?
It was amazing. He was kind of the person I was listening to the most, so I had it very specifically in my head.
You'd want to work with him?
Dream to work with him, yeah, wow. Just because, his recordings, and also sonically, the sound of the instrument, the sound of the clarinet, I felt like that's what it was closest to.
The flute?
Yeah, the flute, particularly his style of playing bansuri. So, yeah, so
Did you also learn how to play the flute?
No,
with him? No,
not at all. It's like
so how did it work?
Totally
He taught you on a flute and you played.
Yeah, the way his classes work are like call and response with all the students.
Yeah.
So he plays a phrase, everybody repeats it. So he actually teaches a lot of different instruments. Violin players there.
Oh wow, okay.
I think different people come in. Yeah. So.
Okay, awesome. So learning Western classical on one side, and then learning Indian classical, when you came down to India, was it very different for you to sort of get the Western classical system out of your head and then incorporate a different system, or was it just easy to?
No, well, it's something that I had been working with a little bit prior to that.
Yeah.
But then jumping into it fully it was a challenge, but I was also like really ready for it. That's what I wanted to do. So it felt right.
What year was this? When did you come down to India?
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
So you were ready for it. You knew that this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah, obviously the whole method of teaching and making music is entirely different. It's like everything's by ear, nothing is written down.
Yeah. That's the fundamental difference, I'd say, because as a Western classical instrument player, as a musician, you be reading music off sheets and playing what is written down for you. But over here, there is no written notes
no written music, and it's such an incredible balance of like it's all improvised music, sort of, but then there's so much that's set. So you can like a classical performance can be like an hour of improvisation, but you know, the notes of the rags are set. There's very specific rules of improvisation. So it's a entirely new way of thinking about it.
So like you're given a playground, you know that there is a border to it, but you can do whatever you want in it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Something along those lines?
Yeah, and also, I mean, sure. Yeah. But there's also a lot of specific rules, like within the playground. Like it's very
so you
like
can just do these things. You can't really deviate from certain. I mean, even as an Indian, it's not everybody who is deeply into Indian classical music.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that, you know, despite not being an Indian, I mean, okay, now I guess you are officially adopted as an Indian now by all of your fans, but it's really cool that you decided that you want to come down here, listen to our music, and figure out a way to incorporate it using an instrument which is not by default an Indian instrument. I mean, it's not an instrument which you would see Indian classical musicians playing in general. Did you have to do anything specific to change the instrument to fit?
Yeah, I modified it a little bit. I just I changed some of the I mean, it'll get kind of technical, but like there's these pads under these keys. I don't know if you can see it all, but like, so underneath these keys, there's like a little place covering the hole.
Yeah.
And ordinarily that pad is made out of a very rigid material.
Right.
And I swapped it out with something like it's kind of rubber. I kind of molded it.
And you made that?
I made that. Okay. Yeah, it's super like very homemade. If any repairman saw my instrument right now, they'd probably like fall unconscious. But yeah, it's.
And that's what gives you the sound that you have now. Is that it?
Yeah, that and like the kind of the playing style.
The playing style, of course, yes.
But yeah, I tried to do minimal alterations to it so I can keep like my previous training and that. But
nice.
Yeah, it is modified a little bit.
But now that you have it in your hand, how about we listen to something that you learned at your Gurukul, and you know, something that Panditji taught you, or you know, something that influenced you to come to where you are at right now.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll just give a quick example of like, so one of the things the modification allowed me to do was, you know, get like in between the notes. You can play like the meend and gamak a little bit. I mean, you can't do it as fluidly as like a bansuri player would, or a violinist or vocalist, whatever, but you can kind of get towards that. So I mean, if I hadn't changed the keys or anything, it would just be like each pitch would just be
that note,
like as if you're playing a keyboard. You know, so it's like you have sharp notes,
intervals.
But then with the pads, you can kind of get between them a little bit. So you kind of get that style, that hint at that style.
Very nice. So how about a little bit more? Can you play a little piece for your fans, for
oh man,
viewers?
A little piece.
That was beautiful. And you know what, now we're gonna get into the part that you guys are aware of, the part that you've seen on your computer screens, on YouTube, on phones, on MTV Roots. That was right. That was which featured one of your songs, a couple of them. So we're gonna talk about all of that. That's gonna happen after a very short break. So don't go anywhere.